cheating. And that's the problem with the system. It's a big, giant cheat. So, on to the video. Response to Nick, who, he spelled it out. And he spelled it out in these cheap, slimy political terms. The bullshit argument, stealing from the rich. He calls it giving to the poor. So if you advocate for people being paid real wages for real work, and people not being paid to sit on their ass, whether they're poor or rich, and somehow you're saying steal from the rich and give to the poor. And that's a bullshit argument. Lots of people are arguing and defending something quite different. They're not just saying arbitrarily take and give. They're saying the system's broken, it's rewarding the wrong thing, fix it, balance it, because it inevitably gets imbalanced. You have to regulate it, or it will be imbalanced. You have to apply intelligence to the system, or it will imbalance. Not that complicated. An idiot can figure that out. You have to maintain an automobile or it will not work. If you don't put the right kind of gas in it and change the oil and do certain things, it will break. And it's the same thing is required from an economic system. You want to work, you've got to maintain it right. And we've been running it on shit. Bullshit. We've been pouring bullshit into the fucking gas tank. So of course the damn thing doesn't work. And it's all this bullshit that somehow inheritance makes sense. It's nowhere, you're not going to find it in Adam Smith. You're not going to find it as a sensible way to apportion power and control. And that's where this argument, again, when you say the word rich, there's two kinds of rich. There's the guy who might have earned his money, and then there's his useless prodigy who didn't do a goddamn thing to earn that power and control. Why should they have a driver's license to the biggest car in the universe, when they haven't passed the test? And they haven't had to earn it. It's just complete nonsense. And Nick gripes and complains about wasteful government work when the real waste is in the rich. I mean, even the ones that lose their money properly, deservedly, they lose it in this sloppy, stupid way. Lamborghinis and bullshit labor that should have never been wasted on such crap, on their marble palaces. I mean, how many celebrity mansions, get resold for 1/10 of the amount of money that was thrown into the dump, on their extravagant bullshit, on stuff only two people in the world could see rational value in. They put up statues to themselves in the backyard. What rational good is that for an economy? It's of no rational value. So you need a system that you know what you want to reward. You want to reward productivity, hard work, accomplishment, and you want to create disincentives for waste. And it's just not that complicated. But Nick thinks that somehow the rich earned it because they got a big giant tax cut. They earned their tax cut. They earned their tax advantage. That was a big, huge mistake we made. We allowed people to pay less taxes on earnings they made on interest than people doing work. Laborers sweating for a living, doing something productive, paid a higher tax rate than people who just sat on a big pile of money. And that's not going to work in the long term. Hey, pup, you're cute. I mean, failure was inevitable if you're going to allow these, obvious mechanisms of consolidation and advantage. If you're not going to, you have to have something that keeps the race fair, that doesn't allow this, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, what other, there's nothing you could even have an example to, because no other part of our rational gaming world is run by this idea of entitlement because of a birthright. Everywhere else we certainly know that's an obscenity. Judge people based on who they're born to for anything, for any purpose on earth of any meaning, except when it comes to money, when the economy, the most important thing in the world, and so we'll let that be run by the stupidest notion in the world. So, and then we'll just label it stealing from the rich. So if you claim that the system's been broken, huge mistakes have been made, that it needs to be rebalanced, and you argue that some of this debt's got to, forget it, it's not getting paid back, especially the federal debts, the national debts, because that is debt that should have never been printed. That was a scheme the rich profited from, where they didn't pay their taxes, they got a tax cut, didn't pay their taxes, borrowed the money essentially from themselves, and paid themselves interest with our money. I mean, it's a racket, Nick. Plain and simple, a fucking racket. Why should that be written in stone? Why should we put a seal of approval on that and say, yes, we must honor the racketeering? the theft. And that's all it was. It was dupish, stupid theft. There's no other word for it. And so it has to be corrected for. And so, yeah, the pain should be spread, and I'm not some advocate that's saying every human being is entitled to $10 billion in health care and a nice, comfortable couch and all this kind of crap. People should have to earn their keep unless they are structurally broken. But on the same token, I'm recognizing that the William Randolph Hearst syndrome exists. That you can sit there and have wealth consolidate, have it destroy the productivity of whole industries, and then have it preposterously wasted on indulgences, stupid, idiotic indulgences, huge amounts of man-hours of labor wasted hauling, the world's statues around, so some jackass could sit in his empty house and just marvel at how much he's able to possess. I mean, it's ludicrous to destroy civilization for that. Stupid. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of Stockholm syndrome because you work for these people that you somehow have empathy. I've worked for the rich, and what I've learned is that they are exactly the garbage that I know them to be intellectually and philosophically. They are personally. Wheels are always turning to their advantage. They are a menace, and the sooner we get rid of it, the better. The sooner we create an equitable, more balanced system, a more rational range of human possibility, where we don't let people get too poor and we don't let them get too rich. What's wrong with having those notions and writing them down and saying, yes, there is such a thing as too poor. Yes, there is such a thing as too rich. And let's not let it happen. It's just fucking rational. But, you gotta, it's like some sort of natural thing. Yeah, nature got it right. So you're going to wallow in a pit of maggots because nature made them. This idea that somehow these greedy capitalists were right and the workers were wrong. The workers who got sold out to the desperation around the world, they were wrong to expect anything else. And the rich, greedy bastards who inherited their fucking control of the system, they were right to charge us all rent, to figure out a scheme to get us to rent by living in the country. We essentially got snookered into a rental contract just by being in a nation. I certainly never signed any fucking IOU to anybody. I didn't take out any fucking debt. I didn't vote for it. So maybe we should make voting public. And maybe when you vote for tax cuts for the fucking rich, when the shit hits the fan, maybe you should pay for it. Because I certainly didn't suggest we borrow the fucking money. Yeah. But anyway, so you whine and complain that you're being maligned and treated unfairly. And then the way you ended your video was just a preposterous unfairness, stealing from the rich, taking what they've earned, when it has nothing to do with it. Earn has nothing to do with it, the vast majority of it. And so it's just plain stupid to use a term like that. Really stupid. I mean, come on, Nick. You told us to use our imagination in the end of the video and imagine whether we think we're entitled. Well, damn right. And can I figure out the other guy isn't entitled? Damn right. So use your imagination, Nick. What do you imagine I would have done if I was 17 years old and had $10 million in New York real estate? Where do you think I'd be today, Nick? Do you think I could have possibly dropped that ball? Yeah, I don't think so. You couldn't. There was nothing but hoop. Okay, there was no way you could fail in that circumstance. And it's been like that when it comes to real estate and a lot of things. It was really hard to be a loser in those markets for the last 50 years. And the reason why is because we borrowed all this fucking money. So it's fake value. It wasn't real earnings. And people thought they could just make money by buying a house. And that doesn't make any sense. How you doing? So, it's coming to, the vulture's coming to roost. And the game's over, and now you're going to talk like it's all the bad people who are going to do something to fix the system. And no, it's not just bad people, it's not people who want a free life. It's people who understand the system is broken. Okay, it's rewarding the wrong things in preposterously out of balance proportions. There's huge room for fixing, and it doesn't... you want to call it a debt jubilee, you want to use this rhetoric that implies something it's not, that it doesn't have to be. Well, go ahead, but it's cheating the argument. So you just fall into the same old political crowd, all talk and rhetoric, all jargon, but when it comes to the details, yeah, you fucking take a hike. So, Weasel Award to you. The end. Alright, enough of a video. Yeah, it's too bad. There's just no, it should be a subject that there's lots of conversation on. But it just gets distracted with the rhetoric. The class warfare has already begun, and it just gets too petty too quick. So you really can't have a rational argument. But there's these key elements. What do you pay work? And what do you pay the sloth of inheritance? And how can you manage a system where most of the income is going to people who aren't doing any work? I mean, that just isn't going to work. So anyway, yeah, a little glimmer of sun. So, till next time, and such, and so forth.